I grew up in what I would classify myself as an apatheistic family. That's a mixture between atheism and just indifference. As a child of about 6 or 7, I had a serious kidney condition which caused me to have to go into hospital for an operation, and at the time I had absolutely no idea what was going on. I thought that I was going to die. I had nobody to speak to about matters of faith, and so I responded with a sense of abject terror. Later on, when I'd recovered, I carried on masking that sense of existential dread by just mocking the concept of faith in general. And that sense of spiritual vacuum only got worse as I got older, when I realised that around the age of 8 years old that Santa Claus wasn't real. The parallels between Santa and God was too close to ignore. I thought that Santa Claus was just something that was made up in order to keep children in line with the threats of coal or the bribe of presents, and that God was the same thing for grown-ups who was just afraid of the thought of death. In my youth, I observed all of the common atheist arguments. There's no physical evidence for God, science good, Christianity bad. So when I was 13 or 14, I had a chemistry teacher who was a Christian, and he showed me that science and faith were not mutually exclusive. Around the age of 20, I was in a band, and the drummer in that band happened to be a Christian. He showed me that you could be a Christian and have fun and not be completely unrelatable to the world. And at the age of 27, when my first child was born, the miracle of life witnessed firsthand just pushed me into wanting to look into the deeper questions of life in more detail. I had to know, was there more? I listened to countless debates and eventually ran out of reasons to disbelieve. I had an intellectual stumbling block, and that was a presupposition that God didn't exist. It dawned on me that Christianity wasn't about having all the answers, just the best explanation for the facts that we can see all around us about life. As I started to put my trust in God, he started to reveal himself to me in marvellous and unexpected ways. And I also learned the hard truth that the facade that Christians have of being perfect and having all of their lives together was exactly that. It was just a facade. And I didn't need to be perfect myself in order to in some way consider myself as a Christian. I just needed to accept that I was a sinner in need of a saviour. I learned that God was patient and merciful, always reaching out even when we falter, and as long as there's breath in your lungs and life in your bones, you can call on him and be welcomed back. I discovered that God's presence is evident all around us if only we would have the eyes to see him. And I realised that in a world dedicated to self-glorification, embracing Christianity becomes a truly countercultural and non-conformist stance. I realised that as God had created the entire universe, knitted me together in my mother's womb, that God owes me absolutely nothing. Yet as I applied his word to my life, I found my life growing simpler and calmer and kinder and more joyful. It's like C.S. Lewis said, I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen. Not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else. I want to know more, to hear his voice more clearly, and to share that transformative experience with my friends and family. And if you don't know the Lord yet, I want that for you too. God bless, my friend.